Hello, this is Ron and Hugh, and welcome to Politically Challenged.
We're
Today we're
back.
going to talk about different topics, but we're going to start with Article 13.
Yeah, the main theme is censorship, so we thought Article 13 was fairly relevant given, well, it's.
Well, you've all probably seen probably a dozen videos about Article 13 and what it means and what it does and what it might mean for the YouTube community. But in a nutshell, Article 13, as well as Article 11 and Article 12A, these are laws that the European Union are implementing.
We're
Um,
proposing. It's not been. I think the vote's in January, the last vote is in January to actually. And it'll take 2 years
it
to gain effect.
it at this rate it may go through. So essentially, these laws, particularly including Article 13, they suggest that anybody that's creating content that has copyrighted material that they are supposedly not supposed to use or didn't get permission to use or borrow, their contents would not be seen in the EU. Any content creators from the EU would have their, you know, YouTube channels effectively shut down because they use copyrighted material on their channels.
And it won't just be new videos, it'll be all the previous videos and stuff.
Yeah.
It'll be backdated.
Music videos such as Despacito, because if any fragment, if any melody or beat from the song was copyrighted from somewhere else, they could shut that video down. And why YouTube would be doing this is because it's almost impossible to vet out every single video of every single channel to see what's been copyrighted and what hasn't, what's free from copyright and what isn't. So any channel that's known to be using copyrighted material, they would be in a vulnerable position, particularly channels that deal with news bulletins, film reviews. Gamers would be screwed.
Football teams and like football fan channels like
Yes,
Arsenal Fan TV, Full
like
Time
the
Devils.
true Geordie type people that talk about sports as well.
Yeah.
He has his own podcast. You should check that out. He's done he's done many different episodes on sports and the news regarding that
He has the
before.
kickoff, he has the knockout, which I
Yeah.
watch,
Mm.
where they cover like football as it's happening. So like it's
Anything to do with sports, news,
basically everything.
anything that's related to a copyrighted brand or a copyrighted event or a film or a song.
Basically, we won't be able to see them. So like, I mean, this will be the death of honest trailers in England. We won't be able to see.
There are like educational channels as well. I think there's a German one called Kurzgesagt, something like that.
So
It's Germany's biggest education based YouTube channel, and it's also really big in the West overall, but that might, shut down as well.
not
Um
necessarily shut down. It's like this thing will like it'll because it will affect revenue to the site.
mm,
Channels in America will start dying as well
mm.
because they can't deal without they can't
So
cope
you're
without the.
talking about channels that don't use copyrighted material. You're saying because are you saying that because of the entire platform is losing money that other channels would just suffer anyway?
Yeah, and for the record, like other educational channels like Because Science, Crash Course, which they refer like media and stuff. Because you can like YouTube are gonna be like we're gonna get sued because of this, so they basically like even a title, anything that you put in your video, they'll be like, well, these people have this information, that information. We can't guarantee that it's not copyrighted. They have all the necessary permissions and stuff, and they'll just block it.
Mm.
Just because they want to avoid being sued. Annoyingly, like when I saw a story online, it basically said, and it was very leaned against YouTube, and the title or one of the headings was like, "It's time to pay up YouTube," because apparently YouTube are screwing all those hardworking singers who are losing millions and millions and stuff. Well, millions and.
I mean, it's always an issue with platforms that provide free content. So like YouTube, Spotify, Facebook, they've all been in the past been accused of ripping people off, including creators, because obviously creators put out their stuff and they don't get paid for it. But since they they see it on Facebook or YouTube or listen to it on Spotify, those platforms are making money off it because those content creators are keeping them on their sites, and then they mentally digest more material, and that increases revenue streams.
The other an argument that James Blunt and Paul McCartney have made is that they're saying that I wouldn't say they're the main reasons this is happening, but it's the music industry that's kind of one of the main people that have campaigned with the EU. They're basically saying that new artists are going to struggle to make money because other people are taking their content and doing stuff with it before they've got a sizable following to actually cope with it. But like a person complained about
The irony is,
Ed Sheeran became famous because of covers.
Ed Sheeran, Dua Lipa as well. Not
Bieber.
to mention, I think, what was it, Conor Maynard as well?
I don't know who that
He
is.
had a YouTube channel too.
Bieber? He was...
Justin Bieber, of course.
He was like signed from Usher from YouTube. So like, basically everyone who's made a song, does a cover, or even even an original song, because they can't guarantee all the words are theirs, that's silly, they might be blocked. And this is also stamp of creativity in people who'll be like, oh, I want to make videos where I make random compilations and mashups and whatever, and they'll be like, oh, what's the point if it's not going to be seen, and like, I'm going to be blocked anyway, so it will just kill creativity in YouTube. And it's not just YouTube, because Facebook, Instagram and stuff, because when you share stories and whatever, you don't have access to the content. This is just not YouTube, but YouTube are the main, because YouTube will be the first thing hit, but it'll hit everything else and it'll kill memes.
Everyone loves memes. I think PewDiePie's made a ton of videos about why you shouldn't kill memes. I understand what Paul McCartney and James Blunt are saying, but the irony is it's these new, hungry artists, the ones that don't have much of a following yet, they'll be the ones that are the most affected. That they would be the most affected by these changes because they don't have the following. And obviously some people do covers, like the future Ed Sheerans out there. They would be using covers, and that would obviously mean that they're using copyrighted material. Maybe they borrow lyrics, they borrow the beats from a song. They won't be seen in the EU. Their channels might get shut down.
Some people even do parodies of music videos in a humorous way. Like, two comedians copied, Kanye West's video with him and his wife, Kardashian, and a comedian copied it in a parody way. So that would kind of be taken down. Wait, no, that's a big company.
You're talking about that video when they're on a motorcycle, and I think it was James Franco and another very successful, famous person.
They won't be taken down because they're a big corporation, probably, that leaked that out. So like the big companies, they could probably be like
Seth Rogen,
yeah, the big companies, they probably won't be taken down. Screen junkies who do honest trailers, I'm not sure they're big enough to survive it. And even if they are, they won't.
What was the other one? Like What Culture?
What Culture is English. Basically, like most of its following, they talk about wrestling as well, which they don't have rights to. WWE, New Japan Wrestling.
But how would it affect? Let's say this was implemented after we leave the EU. How would it affect us, British people?
Basically,
we leave the EU. Would let's say our videos, we've used images like for the videos because we don't have a camera yet because we're poor. We talk about news bulletins all the time, even if we don't use images.
We reviewed the Marvel Infinity Wars, and if we're still live, we're still active next year when Infinity War 2 comes out, like, we might not be able to do that.
I mean, how would it affect people like us that use copyrighted material or don't use, or even the ones that don't use copyrighted material? How would it affect British people after we've left the EU? Because obviously we won't be in the EU.
I don't know the deal, but like I'm not sure whether intellectual property, which is the main law, or this is the bracket this law goes under. I'm not sure what conditions. Like, do you think the MPs, the Prime Minister Theresa May, and her team, and the team they're negotiating with, the EU, are they considering intellectual material and stuff, and whether we need to conform to their rules and regulations? I'm not sure if that's in the debate. I mean, I don't think I've seen any mainstream news coverage of Article 13. Have you seen it on TV? I've seen it online, but I've not.
Okay. I'm not sure about the MPs, but from what we've seen and the research that we have done, I can only assume
Yeah.
that British content creators like us, for instance, or people who've been doing it for a lot longer, let's be honest, those people, our content, their content would not be seen by anybody in the EU. So our channel and channels like it would suffer as well.
Yeah, but like the guy that I watched that the first time I heard about it, the guy called The Closer Look, he talked about even vlogs can be taken down. Even vlogs.
What, people just talking into the god that, oh Jesus
Because
Christ.
you can't guarantee that you own all the items in the shot and whatever, even if it's a blank shot. Like it's because images like how do you
basically YouTube would
they will
be,
shut everything down because they don't want the risk of being sued later on.
what is YouTube have hundreds and hundreds of videos being uploaded every minute, so they can't vet all of those videos, so they just have to shut down channels.
It'll be one size fits all, and what it means like shut down channels, it'll be like they take down the majority, depending on the size and depending on the channel, the majority if not all of your videos, and then I think you'll be allowed to remain active unless you get, well, what's that rule of YouTube? There's 3 strikes and you're out.
Okay, so 3 copyright strikes.
Is that the rule? Like you get 3 strikes?
Yes, but that's with the old system. Obviously, with this Article 13 thing, I think I watched one of the videos you sent me. That would change. Like, I don't think it would be 3 copyright strikes anymore. Obviously, we'll add information to the description to other videos, and we will follow up on this. But from our knowledge, I don't believe it's going to be 3 strikes and you're out anymore. It's going to be a lot more strict, especially since YouTube, they have to comply. They don't want to be sued by potentially hundreds of people, thousands of people, thousands of huge content copyright holders.
One of the videos that said was Old Time Times, and they said that this proposed scheme is supposed to make the EU like $2 billion.
No, it's supposed to create an extra $500 billion.
500 billion.
Yep.
For the EU.
Yep.
So they have
added to the EU's GDP. That's what All Time 10 said.
This is what this scheme will do to them.
Mm.
The EU will get 500 billion.
Yeah, I mean, we're paying them to leave the EU, but they always got to make more money. I mean, to be fair, all jokes aside, the EU is like 27 countries. Of course, they're going to need to make money, especially in this god-forsaken planet.
Right.
Where money rules the world. But what it is that even if we're British and we're living here, and even after Brexit, British people that create YouTube content would be affected. And not just people on YouTube, anybody like Facebook, Reddit, Twitter, Instagram, any platform that has a platform for people to upload content.
Anything that can be moderated. Well, it's hard to moderate. It's well, people like The Closer Look and other people talk about this will dampen like transfer of knowledge, like even people like the Young Turks who cover news articles and whatever, news stories, they won't be seen, so we will be less informed as a country and nation and whatever. This will kind of kill information, the sharing of information. It will take away the social aspect of social media.
Mm. So let's say somebody from the EU has the rights to something. Somebody outside of the EU is using it in their videos. So someone in the EU can complain to YouTube, say, hey, that person in America or Britain or freaking China is using my shit. I don't like it. Is using my stuff. I don't like it.
China have a separate YouTube.
Of course they do.
PewDiePie was complaining about, like, you know how sometimes he doesn't get monetized? And he looked at the Chinese YouTube version of YouTube, and someone actually uploads it, gets his videos and puts it on YouTube, about their YouTube, and they get monetized on Chinese YouTube, which is funny. You talk about
alternatives.
You talk about these film reviews. Let's say it's an obscure French film that no one's seen, but this one guy in America sees it and goes, "Oh my god, it's amazing." They do a review about it, and it gets like 2 or 3 million views, and suddenly people are more aware of it, and it increases the awareness of the film.
Yes,
so it actually benefits the film.
Yes, that's one of the many reasons why this Article 13 thing may actually be a bad idea. But what I was trying to say was, somebody in the EU could complain to YouTube saying somebody else is using my stuff without my permission, and it's I hold the copyright, they don't, I don't like it. And then YouTube could get sued by this person. Like the individual content creator would not be getting sued. It would be YouTube that would be liable, just like Facebook or Reddit or Twitter. So because of that, YouTube would have no choice but to remove the video, and if the person keeps using that EU person's content or copyrighted material, then that channel may have to be shut down so that YouTube don't lose money.
Well, they don't get sued. Like I said, the traditional media, like I said, that story, I mean, if you search it, you'll probably find that story. Basically, them saying that it's time for YouTube to pay up. So some traditional media are actually angry that YouTube have gone this far or this long without actually having to deal with any of the consequences.
That's because traditional media is you have to think about it critically. Traditional media is always going to complain about YouTube because YouTube is a disruptor. So you're absolutely right. But traditional media may be absolutely right too, but they'd only be saying this because YouTube's a disruptor. It's like Kodak complaining about Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've gone on about Article 13 and what it means. I think people understand it, and I believe they may have understood it before anyway. But
Okay.
We'll lead on to our topic on censorship now.
And Ivanhoe, you were just kind of passionate about the Kevin Hart situation. That's kind of a form of censorship, isn't it?
Well,
Yeah,
basically, what happened was Kevin Hart announced that he would become the host of the 91st Oscars. And what happened an hour later was that somebody went and found so-called homophobic tweets that he made 8 years ago. Him basically saying stuff along the lines of, "Oh, you're a gay version of Chris Brown" to some random person, and saying, "Oh, I can't have my kids do this," or can't have my son playing Barbie dolls. That's gay." To be fair, saying it like that, it does sound homophobic. I take it back, but at the same time, I'm not even going to use the "it was 8 years ago" as an excuse, because homophobia is still homophobia. The problem is, it seems that it wasn't just this. He had to step down because of it. Obviously, he's no longer hosting it. They'll give it to somebody else. It'd be very difficult for them to find somebody in Hollywood with a clean slate and no dirty laundry, but they'll try. I think the issue is they had Kevin Hart, who's known for saying controversial things. He made a freaking career out of it. And they've gone and complained about these tweets that he made because they're controversial in their language. That's who he is. That's what he does. Obviously, there's no reason to disrespect LGBT people in any freaking way. However, I feel like this wasn't done to help LGBT people. It was done to get rid of Kevin Hart. You, Ron, before we started recording, you had the theory that they just did this because they didn't want another black Oscars host after Chris Rock. Like, what was it? That it was like just no more black hosts, or you just didn't think that they wanted another black person so soon, or maybe you think that the Oscars just used Kevin Hart as some sort of scapegoat, so that it's like, okay, we've got Kevin Hart, who has dirts from other stuff that he may or may not have done. So they knew that somebody could find something against him, and then he would eventually step down, and then somebody else would become the host, and then that would give people a reason to watch the Oscars for the 91st time. Particularly black people, because in 2015 they made that big deal about Oscars being whitewashed and everything. And then the year after that, black people won all those awards and shit.
The shift. Well, I mainly suggested that because I don't think it's...
Or I think it was 2 years after, but go on.
I don't think it's like... I'm not going to say it's completely racially motivated, but I would say it's naive to say that it would happen to anyone else. But the reason I wanted to group this with a censorship is the idea that... Are you telling me that Kevin Hart or whoever is not allowed to have beliefs that are less informed and then grow as a person later on? Are you saying a person's not allowed to have mistakes in their life? I mean, like... That's the point. Like I told you, like when I was a teenager, when I was a child, I was very religious, somewhat conservative, and I was homophobic in the beginning because I wasn't aware of what it was. And as I grew older, I grew more tolerant, more aware of it. Are you saying even though he's an adult when he made those tweets, are you saying he's not allowed to he's probably a better person now than he was then in terms of attitude and someone? Are you saying he should not be allowed to have any mistakes at all in his life? I mean that's why I want to associate with the censorship. Everyone is bad at some point and has facets of their personality that aren't developed yet. It's weird.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even just Kevin Hart. James Gunn got fired from
Guardians of the
from Marvel because Disney fired not Marvel. Disney fired James Gunn for those transphobic tweets that he made years ago. It was like some discriminatory tweets that he made years ago, and he got fired for it. Somebody decided to drum up these old tweets, find them, plaster them all over social media, and now he's fired. And now I think they were he was having talks with DC, but he won't be directing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, despite the fact that the entire cast were like, "Mate, we want James Gunn back. What the hell are you doing?" Particularly,
it's kind of like
Dave Bautista.
yeah. Oh yeah, the rest of that. Yeah. Like I told you when we reviewed Marvel movies, when we reviewed Infinity Wars, and people kept in England, most critics say, "Is Infinity War good? Yes. Is it Guardians of the Galaxy? No." Every English critic basically my favorite movie in the Marvel cinematic movie is Winter Soldier, but most British critics agree it's Guardians of the Galaxy because it's the first and only true original Marvel movie they've done. They've reinvented the space genre. That's what they agree, and they got rid of the most, technically, if you think about it critically, they've gotten rid of the most creative director they had until obviously Thor Ragnarok's Waititi.
Waititi was pretty good, you know.
Yeah, but they've gotten rid of the most creative person because of some.
To be fair to you, I feel like some of the movies that, obviously films like Doctor Strange and The Winter Soldier and Thor Ragnarok and, particularly Guardians of the Galaxy more than Thor Ragnarok, they would have changed the mold of the Marvel franchise. Like, Guardians of the Galaxy, I hadn't even heard of them before the film came out. When I saw the trailer, I was like, who the hell are these guys?
I saw the honest trailer for it, and they basically said, yes, they're so big now, they can make a movie about basically a comic series that basically lasted a couple of years in the 70s, but they're so big now, they can do it. It lasted a couple of years in the 70s, and then suddenly...
A couple of years in the 70s, what they made was it a cartoon or a TV?
No, a comic book series.
A comic book series, oh.
I
mean like after the comics.
Maybe in the 80s.
But basically, X-Men animated series.
Basically, it's a group of story characters that didn't really catch on, and they had a couple of years, and then they kind of died out. But Marvel said, no, we could bring them back, because we're so big now.
I mean, Jesus. It seems genius now, but Guardians of the Galaxy could have really tanked. It could have really been like Suicide Squad. It could have easily been a Suicide Squad type failure. Because Suicide Squad...
Say whatever you want about Suicide. We both saw that and we didn't dislike the movie. I thought it was fine, you thought it was fine, but don't get on the bandwagon that you hated it. You liked it when you saw it.
I'm not getting on the bandwagon. A lot of people criticize the hell and judge...
Yeah, but you liked it when you saw it, so why are you...
unfortunately, the success of that film isn't predicated on 2 people. It's predicated on millions and predicated even more so.
I know, but I'm just saying you're kind of joining the bandwagon by saying you disliked it. When you liked it, you enjoyed that movie.
I didn't say once, and I haven't said that I disliked the film. I'm just saying that Guardians of the Galaxy could have easily failed at the box office, like Suicide Squad.
Did it fail at the box office?
No, not at the box office.
Critically.
Critically. We could have... Guardians of the Galaxy could have failed critically just like Suicide Squad did. Like Guardians of the Galaxy and Deadpool even. These are films that have done better than frickin' Batman vs Superman.
Yeah, that was alright.
And those are like the 2 of the biggest superheroes on the fricking planet.
Yeah, and Spider-Man is third.
Deadpool, in comparison, is like the type of...
he's niche.
He's the type of anti-hero that you would have known if you were truly into the comics. If you were only just into the comic book movies, you wouldn't have known much about Deadpool at all. Especially since Fox had Deadpool as opposed to Disney.
Yeah.
But
which I-
now
Yeah.
that freaking Deadpool is going over to Disney, they're gonna. I don't even know what the hell they're going to do.
Disney-fy him.
They're going to Disney-fy him. Like, have you seen the trailer for that Christmas movie?
I haven't. What movie?
There's a little Christmas special with Deadpool, and he's not swearing.
Oh yeah.
That's basically what's going to happen when Disney get. I mean, Disney have the rights, but if Disney ever put Deadpool in a film for Marvel with the Avengers, there's no swearing.
Well, if you
That'll be like him saying, there might be some swearing.
well, in the my first introduction was in the cartoon Ultimate Spider-Man, voiced by Drake Bell. If you're aware of him, he was in Drake and Josh. And in that, Deadpool was in one episode where he broke the fourth wall all the time, and I was like, God, he's annoying. And when he talked about killing people, he didn't say kill. He said unalive people. I'm gonna unalive these people.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Imagine him doing that in the Marvel.
I'm going to unalive these people. Jesus Christ, that's so.
Well, in the cartoon, he basically said his reason for saying that was because he didn't like the word kill, so he's gonna
What, the
unalive.
actor? Or?
No, in the cartoon. So I mean they've used the word kill in that cartoon anyway, but I think they just wanted to make fun of the fact that, oh, we've got Deadpool in this. That's the thing I like about, because it was Ultimate Spider-Man, they had different characters rocking up, and it was like, if only this was live action, we got all the characters together. Imagine if X-Men, imagine Wolverine in Infinity Wars. I mean, like, I did show you that video about the most strongest characters, and technically Deadpool could beat Thanos, so he could, because he can't die. Yeah, we're talking about censorship, so that's kind of like a character form of censorship, and there's other forms of censorship, aren't there? You have something else you want to talk about? You're clearing your throat, and breathe.
I'm on the spot. So yeah, I mean, we've talked about Kevin Hart having a tiny blip in his
Life.
You know,
It's one of his life.
lifeline career, because he had to step down from the Oscars gig. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that half the reason they did it was just to get rid of him. Like, it's like, look, but those tweets that he made 8 years ago. Look, I'm like, why didn't it come out? Why didn't it come out a year ago? Why didn't it come out when he did his first stand-up gig? Why didn't it come out?
Because he wasn't famous enough. I mean, I'm not sure, you don't really follow football, but...
you know full well that that's where I was going to, but continue.
You don't really follow football, but if you've heard of the guy Philip Neville, like, he became the manager for the England's football team, the women's football team, and then weirdly after, a tweet came out that he jokingly said about his wife. He said, oh, my wife, she's so unfit, she belongs in the kitchen, and that came right after he became appointed the women's manager.
What a surprise.
I mean, like, obviously he didn't lose his job, but like Ian Wright, who's a football analyst, like, so a guy's gonna lose his job over a couple of words he said years ago, and he said that to his wife. And you've seen him in interviews. He's a relatively nice guy, so he's not. I really doubt and that was just to his wife, and she probably found it funny anyway. So like, it's like, context means a lot.
The problem with social media is it's getting too freaking regulated, if not by the government, who don't know how the internet works. Like, you saw the Mark Zuckerberg hearing. Some people think it was good, some people think it was a travesty because they were asking him basic questions about the internet. But basically, apart from that, when it's not the government trying to regulate the internet with this net neutrality nonsense and trying to roll back net neutrality and this Article 13 stuff, if it's not any of that, if it's not the politicians, then it's the social justice warriors trying to tell celebrities what they shouldn't have said a decade ago. Like, it's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, some of those people, some, not all, some, I'm going to say that again, some people are saying they feel that some movies in the 80s are outdated, and some of the views in those movies are outdated. Some scenes in Friends.
Oh yeah, I was about to mention Friends. Yeah, Friends is now offensive to people because
it's not progressive enough.
It's not progressive enough. There was just 6 white people. They say, it's. What else do they say? Oh, they make homophobic jokes and sexist jokes. Yeah, it was made in the 90s.
That's why it's outdated. You're judging a movie. You're judging a series or TV show, movie.
They're judging They're judging a comedy that started in 1994 and ended in 2005. Sorry, 2004.
Yeah.
On 2018 SJW moral terms and conditions.
Actually, weird enough, have you heard of the actress Mari Ringwald? She was like one of the biggest stars in the 80s, and she talked about how like she was rewatching some of the movies she was in, and she thought, I didn't realize how sexist they were. And she was like talking about one of the directors. I think she was in the Breakfast Club, and she talked about, I like the director, but I didn't realize his writing was like this. And she thought he was such a nice guy. I thought it was the 80s. It was different. I wasn't alive in the 80s, but there were different views. And she acted in the film. She watched the film first time, second time, whatever, with herself in it. Her friends watch it. No one had a problem. 20, 30 years later, she's like, it doesn't reflect my views now, but that's the people grow and they evolve. That's the thing.
Like there are things that happen now. I mean, things that happened then that could never happen now. Like, do you remember the widely televised Yorkies commercials?
I don't know.
Or if you don't remember, I can show you the YouTube video for it. Basically, a young girl goes into the off license, tries to buy a Yorkie bar, gets a helmet on, gets a fake mustache and everything, tries to, with a fake ID and everything, to buy a Yorkie's chocolate bar. And then the old man or the middle-aged man selling the products, he wouldn't let girls buy Yorkies because Yorkies is only for boys. That was the whole gig. That was their marketing.
Oh wait, I remember those chocolate bars when I was younger. Like they were like the boy version and the girl version. And I remember because I was so curious when I was little because I didn't really. I think I bought the girls version once and I ate it and I thought like it's fine. But my mum bought it for me because she didn't really care about that. But she bought. I said, can I have that sweet? She said, okay. She bought it for me and I ate it. When I ate it, I looked around to make sure no one actually saw me eating it because I was embarrassed. So like I didn't really think it was like it's just a chocolate bar. Eat it if you want to. I can't remember how it tasted to be honest. If it's good or bad. Apparently the boys version had nuts. The girls one didn't, or something. Or it's the other way around.
Okay then.
I'm guessing girls had a nougat analogy or something. I don't know. Maybe with almonds. I don't know what nut it was.
I don't know, but
that's chocolate.
That was part of their marketing gig. Yorkies.
There's the boy version and the girls version.
Yeah, they made the girls version, but the video just said, "Oh, Yorkies is not for boys. I mean, it's not for girls."
It's kind of how Kinder eggs have now become political. There's a blue version and a pink version. The blue version has, Justice League and maybe Marvel, I don't know, and superheroes. And while the girls version, the pink version, has princesses. Because we can't have neutral Kinder eggs anymore.
That makes no sense. Like, I don't know, man. I mean, it's not like girls like superheroes and shit.
But here's the thing, though. We're talking about censorship, but that's like. Shouldn't there be like because gender's been redefined so many there's so many genders now. Shouldn't there be like infinite amount of different colors for infinite amount of genders? Logically.
By the way, if anyone watches this in 20 years, me saying girls don't like superheroes, that's obvious sarcasm. Because I know for a fact that if we ever become famous, that Kevin Hart stuff will happen to us.
No, it won't. Don't worry. We could just explain ourselves and people understand.
Oh, that's adorable. You really think that's how the world works? I promise you, if we ever make it in this world, people will come after us for some
I just admitted that when
BS.
when I was a child, as a teenager, I didn't know what gays were or whatever, and I was fairly religious and very conservative. And as I grew up, I became older and wiser. Well, more open-minded in a sense. I used saying people would judge me for being homophobic when I was 12? Really? No one would care. Like I was 12. Why does it matter? And he was an adult, and I'm not saying his views were right, but like people like the media, like there's been cultural shifts as well. There's dynamics and whatever. Culture shift. There was a point in society where slavery was globally accepted, and now. While it still happens, it's seen as an embarrassment. I'm not saying this is the same thing, but come on, culture changes, shift happens. You're listening.
Well, Kevin Hart is one of the biggest, most influential black people in this world. Kevin Hart is probably, I haven't checked this, but he's almost definitely one of the biggest in terms of Instagram followers for a black person. He's got one of the biggest follow accounts. He's got like 54 million, and last time I checked, he had 54 million Instagram followers. Like, that's huge.
And he basically saw the tweet. Like, that's the thing about these tweets. Like,
To be honest,
I don't
to
know
be honest with Kevin Hart,
why didn't he
I
sort of
don't
just,
know. I don't know why he doesn't hire people that can monitor this stuff. And doesn't he have PR people? Doesn't he invest in PR people? Like, this is the man that was accused of cheating on his pregnant wife some months ago.
I don't know.
PR. You need PR.
Ah.
Jesus Christ. Like, somebody needs to give Kevin Hart Jessica Huey's number. Like, you need PR if you're going to become a freaking celebrity.
Yeah.
Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of social justice warriors.
Oh yeah, I did send you that video with Eric Bischoff, a former wrestling guy. He was a manager. He was in WCW, WB, TNA, different companies, and he talked about this thing called negative cheap heat. Basically, you say something to rile up the crowd, i.e., and it.
Was this a TED Talk?
Yeah, TED Talk. I showed.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah, Eric Bischoff was talking about like how some wrestlers, when they're the bad guy, they do this thing called they just mock the crowd away to get cheap heat. And he talked about like we could have a president who was a former wrestler, and we've already had that in Abraham Lincoln. He did some amateur wrestling, and then he became president. And Donald Trump, who was in WWE for a bit and he's in the Hall of Fame because he's done promotional stuff for them. He was a manager in a match as well. So like he said that there's a thing called cheap heat. Okay. So Trump, he riled up the right wing and he got them to vote for him, and it's how he got to power. This thing it's called getting a reaction for the sake of getting a reaction.
That and the Electoral College, yep.
Yeah.
But that is how he gained all his supporters.
Because he learned that from like it gets people's attention. That's the point.
He disrespected lots of different cultural groups,
Cussed
out his rivals and saying they had ugly wives. And even after he supposedly, he was recorded saying grab him by the pussy, he became president. So that man's unstoppable.
We talk about that, but like we talked about the context of that situation. I'm not defending it, but his context was that he basically met people who were already fans of him. So basically, they were eager anyway. That's the point. That's the point he was making. You get the gist, right? And we've given. Let's say like your favorite female celebrity did the same to you. Would you say no?
Jesus Christ.
Would you?
But that's double standards.
I know, that's the point, but that's the thing. That's like, what about the whole rock star?
And I would say no if I was in a relationship or something.
Yeah. Let's ignore that hypothetical now, but like, at this present moment, you wouldn't say no to just say...
It depends who it is.
Emilia Clarke. Would you say no to Emilia Clarke?
No, I wouldn't say no to Emilia Clarke.
Okay.
In that hypothetical situation where that I could get Emilia Clarke, but also in a hypothetical situation in which I meet Emilia Clarke.
And you don't jump out a window like we suggested or we talked about in private.
Oh, yes.
You said you would jump out a window because you just couldn't deal with it. That's just funny. I hope it's a low window. Like I said, loads of people who've met Donald Trump and thought like, I should jump out of that window next to me. Probably in a different context, but those people be like, I wonder if the window next to me.
Okay, so we talked about censorship, but the thing is,
we talk about
even that. I mean, somebody who left Twitter on his last day, he decided to shut down Trump's account. Whether you like Trump or not, you could argue that that's a form of censorship as well.
Yeah, he doesn't have a team, does he, behind him? We talk about like how Kevin Hart doesn't have PR. Trump has PR. He still says what he wants, more or less. And we talk about censorship, and
But you have people like Kellyanne Conway saying it's just locker room talk or it's alternative facts. That's what I mean. You have PR. You have people chatting absolute rubbish to back the person up.
Well, I was talking about like changing attitudes. I was talking about censorship. There was a debate last week or the week before, I forget when I saw it on Jeremy Vine and talk about a proposed red light district in England, would you be what would be the SJW attitude towards that?
Of
A red light district. I assumed, like, when I heard red light, I assumed that meant drugs, but no, it was talking about prostitution and stuff. Would that be sense? Like, I don't like that idea, but like, is that
I mean,
is that being progressive by saying yes to that, or is it being progressive to saying no? Or what's I don't know, because I don't like the idea.
I would presume that from a SJW perspective, sexual objectification and using women as a
Who said it was
commodity
just
to be
women? It could be men as well.
men too,
It's
using people as sexual objects, commodities to be bought and paid for the sake of capitalist gains.
Yeah, but here's the thing: we've talked about drugs, I mean, but this would be government regulated and all that stuff. This would be a proper red light district. I know, but like, I thought about it and I thought.
But no, I mean, I wouldn't be for it, to be honest. I didn't see a point. Yeah. I mean, it objectifies the people that do it, and the customers. Just get laid, for goodness sake. Like, find people, go to dinner parties.
Some people say it's the oldest profession, which I never really got.
Agriculture and fishing would technically be the oldest professions.
Yeah, but I think that's just the
hunting.
How's that a profession? You just hunt and kill something. There's no trade involved. That's not a trade.
There could have been a trade. There could be guys that were stronger than the other guys, and it's like, yeah, I need you to hunt for me. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, that's an interesting idea. Like, was an idea that basically the smart, scrawny guys have kind of just evolved while, like, and that's kind of overtaken the big, stereotypical prehistoric stereotypes of being big and strong and hunter-gatherer. So that'd be interesting to see, like, basically the hunter kills 20 fish, or gets 20 fish and be like, oh, I can't do the math to share this. Oh, I need to get that guy. He can do the math. I mean, that's maybe accountancy was the first trade then. Accountants. I kind of lost you there. Yeah, so when I saw that story, I thought like this seems like a non-issue for me, but it got some traction, kind of like a movement. Like, is that it would be a liberal thing to say like, anyone could buy whatever they want in that sense, people whatever, and the person wants to offer a service and get paid for it. Like, can you say that's a liberal point of view? Like, it's their body, whatever, their mind, whatever, to do whatever they want with that.
Honestly, I wouldn't be for it for many different reasons, but I like a government well, it would
just be legal.
A government regulated prostitution. I mean,
it would stop illegal stuff.
You would argue that the women might be safer. You could argue that there's less
stigma.
There's
the stigma might
not always be stigma, but
wouldn't the stigma go away gradually? Like with drugs, you say if you legalize certain drugs, the stigma would basically fade away.
Okay, maybe eventually, but there'll be less chance of these women and men getting harmed.
I always got confused by the idea of prostitution. I never really got where's the demand from. Like,
yeah, I
never got that idea. Like, where's the demand?
The demand comes from the fact that lots of people can't get laid to save their lives.
Doesn't mean you have to pay for it. It doesn't.
Or even if they could get laid to save their lives, like they don't have to deal with commitment. They don't have to deal with the long-term repercussions.
But isn't that the benefit of doing it? The long-term stuff. Like, what's the point of doing something short-term? There's no point in doing that.
Hit it, quit it.
Yeah, that's
smash and dash.
That sounds sad. That's depressing.
Well, people think differently.
Right.
But let's go back to censorship. Like, I mean, we've spoken about Kevin Hart, we've spoken about James Gunn. Do you really believe that people's careers should be stunted or...
No. I think people, like I said,
just because of some stupid stuff they say, whether it was yesterday or tomorrow or 2 years ago.
Or 10 years from now, and you think apparently the stuff we say, maybe not in this video, or other videos we have said and will say, will be judged, and like we won't be able to talk our way out of it, even though we can explain our opinions. It's surely
I'm waiting for that day to happen.
Surely when we talk about censorship, we have to talk about having like an open mind to like other opinions. Like, you can't expect everyone to have the same opinions you and be in the same like same state. Like I remember when I went to that Women's Week thing, and a girl was talking about like how her dad is so progressive or something, and then she was walking, well, she was just jogging on the street, and a guy pulled up his car window and said some words to her, and she, well, you could guess what kind of words, and she thought this guy is about the same age as her dad, and she it annoyed her so much that he was not as progressive as her dad, who was a similar age, similar generation, and like. And when I was listening to her, I was all like, not everyone's going to have the same background or something, and certain things are going to be fixed in.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, regarding that situation, being progressive is, it's a, being progressive or not progressive, it depends on the person. People are raised differently, people grow up in different cultures, people listen to different types of music or have different role models. So it would ultimately change their political compass. So
When you say moral compass as well, social awareness, and
yeah, perhaps.
I would say political. Political seems.
That political alignment, that's what I mean. You're more likely to become left leaning if you think that stuff just happens to you and it's the government's fault and it's the economy. You're more likely to be left leaning if you think, okay, we can fight for equality, and if we sort out the massive issues of the world like war and poverty, we can make everything fair and everything else, and we can make everybody love each other, and there won't be any sexism, any racism, any homophobia.
I think I've mentioned this quote before, but Stan Lee, R.I.P. Stan Lee, he talked about like even if we were in the same country, same ethnicity, same religion and everything, he said that people would argue about hair color, length of hair, eye color, eyebrows, whatever. They would find another reason to disagree with each other.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
People always disagree.
It's just like the social experiment, the blue-eyed, brown-eyed experiment with those kids. They were hating each other for having different eye colors.
Oi, I have the tiger.
Plus, gingers get mocked. Or at least gingers used to get mocked all the time by other white people just because they're ginger.
Oh yeah, Reginald D. Hunter said that apparently English people don't do racism right because they discriminate gingers. Oh.
Yeah, it's weird regardless. Not because of what that guy said, but because just the thought of discriminating people based on their biological appearance or their biological makeup is silly.
Yeah, because biology has no effect on race. That's funny. Yeah, well, we're talking about... Actually, let's talk about racism now. Like, let's say if... well, I would say I was relatively conservative when I was 12, 13, whatever. And so, like, are you telling me if I was... Well, actually, I'm brown and I live in England. But let's say someone was English and white who was racist at 12, but now was, to say, married with kids and their wife is black. Are you saying if they... And obviously, social media was... Twitter was around, let's say, 10 years ago. If they said something when they were 18, 19, and they tweeted it, but they changed their mind and they married a black girl, are you telling me they should be judged accordingly? Even though their opinions have changed? Let's say you're racist at 18, but you grow up and you marry a black girl or brown girl. But, like that's the thing with these Kevin Hart and these, like, people's opinions change over time. That's the thing with censorship. You're censoring old opinions that have evolved and changed. But, like...
like, Kevin Hart is clearly not the person he was a decade ago.
No one is. Like... Are you the same person?
Like, a decade ago, he was broke. Nobody was coming after his career.
Like,
well, actually, maybe 2 decades ago now.
I mean, I was relatively conservative. Well, not very conservative, but I would say I was open-minded, but I was, like, I had certain views. I didn't know what gays was, so, like, I was kind of foreign to it, so, like... Getting my point, but, yeah. Like, what were you like, let's say, when you were 15? So, 8 years ago, what were you like? Was there any beliefs that you think, that you could remember having, that you say they've changed a bit?
15?
Well...
Nah, I'm basically the same. Except I was a lot more about wanting to save the world and all that nonsense. But I wasn't an SJW, as I said that I was before.
Oh yeah, I remember that. And I think that all that hope and faith kind of died
Yeah,
out.
it's like, yeah, I believe that one day, if we work really hard, we can unite and spread love and joy and get rid of all the bad things that have been happening since the dawn of time.
I think I kind of lost all that hope when I was 14. I was like, God, when will I die already? But yeah, I think different people go through that. Like, God, what's the point? But the point. My opinion and certain attitudes have changed, but that's the reason. Like, this YouTube thing is a movement. Like, people in traditional media and some government are saying, oh, people in the music industry, film industry are complaining, so like, oh, we should probably help them because they know what they're doing. People who are not aware of like let's say this happens and it gradually kills YouTube, Instagram, whatever. I'm going back to Article 13, but like, if that happens, like, in 10 years, like, what would social media be like if this happens? I'm asking you, like,
it'll be terrible. I mean, you've got the government trying to repeal net neutrality already. The American government. That's America's problem. You've also got the EU trying to come up with this digital single market copyright law BS with Article 11, 12A, 13, all these stupid laws. And those are just the politicians and the regulatory bodies like the FCC in America. Here and everywhere else, we've also got random SJWs drawing up tweets that Zoella or James Gunn or Kevin Hart or somebody else said in the past. It's like Roseanne Barr like destroyed her career again because of discriminatory stuff that she said recently.
Recently, it wasn't an old thing that she said.
Like Roseanne's one of those people that has a reputation for saying controversial things and doing controversial things, supposedly. I won't go too much into it because I won't lie, I don't know too much about it. I just know that she had a show that she just literally brought back to life and then it got cancelled because the network believed she was a liability because of all this so-called offensive stuff she was saying.
Doesn't that add to the ratings?
They wanted to kill it. The freaking irony is, Charlie Sheen said offensive stuff. They got rid of him. The show continued. 2.5 Men continued. Roseanne, they could have just killed off her character, or she could have taken a long vacation and then continued the show. Instead, they cancelled it.
It's called Roseanne. That's kind of hard.
Like,
I mean, do you know the origin of the Big Bang Theory?
you mean the pilot before it was a pilot?
Oh, not that version where they had a different version of not Penny, but I forgot what her name was. Before that, on that same channel, there was a program called The Cloth, predominantly white cast, and people complained.
It was basically
Friends.
a rehash of Friends.
But for the record,
the billionth rehash of Friends.
Yeah, but
not even How I Met Your Mother popular, where it was
The Cloth.
tolerable.
Did you see The Cloth?
I saw like one episode. It had like an actress that used to be on Joey.
And also it had
which was a spin-off for Friends.
And the ginger guy went to Modern Family, so his career didn't die out. But basically they had a gay character as well. But after the first season, I mean, I watched it like years after, but like I watched it and I thought like, oh, this is good. I can't wait for it get cancelled because I googled it like, where are the other episodes? Because you catch up things.
Did you ever hear of the? I'm sorry to interrupt. Did you ever hear of the show Friends with Better Lives?
Was that the
and it starred that guy that used to be on Dawson's Creek, the blonde guy, and an actress that used to be on Whitney. God forgive me for not knowing these names.
Was it Whitney? Was it Whitney?
No, it wasn't Whitney. It wasn't Whitney Cummings. It was the redhead. I don't know if she's redhead in real life. No, she wasn't. She was a redhead for the show. I don't know.
Oh yeah, Whitney. I like that show. Her character was very adorable.
No, what I didn't like about the show was that they made the only non-white person there gay just to get more viewers. He was about to marry one of the other white friends. He was about to marry the character. I think the character's name was Lily. He was about to marry a woman. Then they broke up. A month later, I'm gay. Like I think I like guys now. I'm like, get the hell out of here.
Yeah, well, in The Class, one of the characters was gay, and then that got cancelled because people said, you're making the same excuse that you made with Friends, that there were no black or Asian or Latin people. Latin? Yeah, I think that Latin's the word. Latin community? Latin. People from the Latin community. And then Big Bang Theory came, and like this little brown token, like you remember him? That's the reason it's like that's the reason it stuck. Raj. Say whatever you want about Raj. He might not be a poo, but he saved Big Bang Theory. He's the reason it didn't get cancelled. Because they can't cancel it. There's a brown guy.
No. But what I like is that it wasn't just a brown guy. It was a brown guy that had the least lines because he always got interrupted and he couldn't talk to women.
In the beginning, he got his character evolved later.
Yeah, but he couldn't talk to women without getting plastered drunk for 6 seasons. 6 seasons.
I think it was 5.
No,
5.
Was it?
I'm losing track, but 5.
It was 6 because season 6 was like the end of season 6. Leonard was going on this cruise for 2 months, working with a bunch of people on the sea.
Was that season 6?
Yeah, that was season 6, and then season 7 he came back. Then season 9, spoilers. It turned out that he had kissed one of the people on that cruise while he was with Penny, and he didn't tell her about it until like when we were about to get married, which is just that's just.
Oh yeah, that annoyed fans because they, spoiler again, they thought, and then the second and the foreign episode, the next season, they get married and nothing happens. The fans complain, how dare they do that? It's kind of like a clickbaity season finale, like expecting tension, and they're like, why are you screwing us over? And some people even don't like the relationship between Penny and Leonard. They say that Penny tolerates Leonard, because how can a beautiful woman be attracted to a smart, short guy? I mean, like, that's, like, that they... Like, it's nothing new. So, change in attitude. So, like...
in 10 years, social media, I honestly think that it's going to get even worse.
If Article 13 comes up, maybe these tweets, these videos, no one's going to see them. No one's going to hear them.
Actually, that's a good point. What if there's no Twitter in 10 years? What if there's no Facebook?
YouTube, Instagram.
Do you think in the future, this old tweets nonsense will get even further out of hand? Do you think people are just going to have their whole careers ruined by a stupid thing that they do or say in the future? Like, we're not talking about Me Too that's actually warranted and necessary. We're talking about something unnecessary. Like, I could use us as an example again, or I could use anybody. Let's say Beyonce out here saying that white people are smelly.
That's not
15 true. Years ago. And then in about 10 years, it comes out.
Did she say it?
I read in an interview that she said no. Of course, it didn't happen.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well.
But imagine if she did, and then they would try to.
I think it's sad. If you someone said that you could like I talk about the film and everything, like sometimes you could just. If people people need to understand context.
Do you think it's a possibility?
It's a possibility, but the fact is, like, not everyone's in control. Like, some people don't understand context, but, like, surely the majority would listen to what the person wants to say and to defend themselves. Context means everything. Context is... We talked about that weird guy...
I mean, we've come up with this subject. We've touched on this subject several times. It's the Nazi pug all over again.
No, and that funny guy who started doing that weird Nazi dance, he was like, context means nothing, so that means everything's offensive. Yeah. How can everything be offensive?
You mean Jonathan Pye?
I need to subscribe to him. Is he still around?
He's still doing stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I like him.
Maybe we shouldn't be judging people based on the stuff they said 5-10 years ago.
But we don't do that. You and I don't do that.
No, I mean in general.
If anyone...
You've got to point out that people are going to say a bunch of dumb stuff and not mean it. And even if they do, personalities change, cultures change. People could have so many different things happen to them in a week that could change their lives and their perspective, let alone 8 years. And you want to come after Hart or Gunn or any of these other people for stuff that they say when you've got President Trump saying offensive things every single day. And all you do is huff and puff about it. But his career's not going down, and it's not going south anytime soon. He's still the president.
You know, we've broken the theoretical 4-4 so many times, but how many podcasts are we going to make out of this one audio? We've been recording for 4 hours.
I don't know.
On and off, if you think about it. 4 hours. And 4 hours I've been here, and like, we've barely gotten it. We could go for another 40 minutes. But we're not.
We'll leave it here.
Okay.
Thank you all so much for this latest episode of Politically Challenged. We will see you next time. Be sure to follow our social medias. We've got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You know the essentials. Maybe we'll start a Snapchat, get back on SoundCloud too.
Maybe we'll try in China. Well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Excellent. It's goodbye from Ron.
And it's goodbye from you.
And hopefully, if you guys are watching this, you realize we switched it. Could you imagine if they actually think my name's yours and yours is mine? But one more time. Goodbye from Ron.
And it's goodbye from you.
Ta-ra.